This bill extends the compulsory questioning warrant framework in the ASIO Act for a further 18 months to the 7th of March 2027. It's been a pattern over the last 10 years or so, at least whilst I've been on the Parliamentary Joint Committee for Intelligence and Security, to sunset some of the more contentious national security bills. The questioning powers have had sunsetting powers for some time, and that's why this first bill out of a package of 2 bills is before the House today. Ahead of the sunsetting of ASIO's compulsory questioning powers, the PJCIS commenced a review into Division 3 of Part 3 of the ASIO Act in the last Parliament, but this inquiry lapsed when the House was dissolved. And so this legislation serves as a stopgap extension to ensure ASIO retains these powers, while the reforms being progressed through the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation Amendment Bill No. 2, 2025, are considered by Parliament, including the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security, which is the normal avenue for in-depth inquiries. Now, the second ASIO Amendment Bill contains substantive reforms to the compulsory questioning power regime and will be considered by Parliament separately. By way of background, these powers were introduced in the wake of the attacks of September 11th back in 2001. They came onto the statute books in 2003 to combat the growing threat of terrorism. We saw them updated and modernised to account for the development of homegrown terrorism with Islamic State about a decade ago. And now, with great power competition taking place across the globe with the rise of espionage, foreign interference and sabotage, the second bill, which we're not considering today but it's worth foreshadowing, the second bill will modernise the compulsory questioning powers to include those more pressing threats. We know that the ASIO Director-General has talked often over the years about espionage and foreign interference and now sabotage being real and pressing threats to Australian national security, and that's why it's good that we're updating these laws. Since its introduction, the compulsory questioning framework has been renewed 5 times before it was due to cease, and this has resulted in the questioning framework being enforced continuously since 2003. So that's 22 years of bipartisan support for these tools. We wish we didn't have to have these on the statute books at all, but in today's world, it's necessary that we protect the Australian people through such a legislative framework. Because ASIO's compulsory questioning powers remain a valuable intelligence collection tool, it's also a tool of interdiction and disruption in an increasingly complex security landscape. And this legislation will ensure there is no disruption to ASIO's access to these powers while further reforms are considered by the Parliament. I do want to note that there are people on both sides of the House who have concerns with such powers, and certainly I'm alive to those. I think oversight of these powers are really important, and accountability and transparency is part of our democratic tradition. So whoever on the PJCIS looks at these closely, from our side at least, will make sure that these concerns are addressed within the public inquiry and also behind closed doors when these discussions are handled within the committee itself. But I do want to put on the record very, very clearly that the Coalition will always support sensible reforms which empower Australian men and women serving on the front line in intelligence and law enforcement roles. We'll always back our intelligence officers in ASIS. We'll always back our intelligence officers in ASIO. We'll always back the AFP officers in law enforcement who every day in the shadows work hard to keep us safe. And so for this bill, we'll be supporting it without amendment. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.